No, ma'am.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So these days, twice I need to join to make myself audible. I don't know what's happening. Okay, recording is also started. Right. Okay, so where did we stop in the last class? Where did we stop in the last class? Anybody sweet enough to let me know where did we finish in the last class? Did I give some homework? Did I give some homework?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you all try doing that homework?
No, ma'am.
No, huh? Nobody tried.
I don't
Not
think
even
so.
one. Okay. So no, not even one person tried doing that. Okay. Fine. So let me show you the answers. Okay. Not presented. Okay, so this was we have a number of problems coming up in the third unit. So please make a note of all these problems. Okay, so this was the problem what I asked you to do. In fact, I had done two in the class. So you were asked to represent these statements in first order logic, FOL, using the quantifiers. Okay, so I think the first two was done in the class. So these are the others, what I gave as homework. Some boys play cricket, how it can be represented. So the predicate out here is this, X is boy, Y is game. Just a second. Okay, then this is the first order logic representation for it. Then since it is some boys, we use what quantifier is this? What quantifier is this? This inverted E. What quantifier is this? Some response. What quantifier is this? You learned about two quantifiers, right? Universal quantifier and existential quantifier. So what quantifier is this inverted E? What do you call that? Everyone had a heavy lunch. Nobody wants to answer my question. What, Aditya? What is this? Aditya hardly opens your mouth these days. Otherwise, at least a yes or a no. So nobody answers. What is this?
Don't know, ma'am.
Don't know. Oh my God. Okay, so this is called discrete maths. You would have learnt this, right?
There exists.
Discrete maths.
There exists.
This is there exist. Very good, very good. That's what there is. Somebody's answered the chat window. Yes, Darshini, that's it. Even if I called others' names, and if you know the answer, you please tell it out, Darshini. Very good. So this is there exist. So this is for all. This is called a universal quantifier, and this is called an existential quantifier. Okay. So these kind of questions will be asked for your cycle test. Okay. Then not all students like both maths and science. Okay. So in which case you will have to represent it this way. So you were asked to do this and come. Okay. So the predicate, what is the predicate? And since there are not all students, it is written not all. Okay. So that's why not, and all means for all. For all, universal quantifier will be used. Since there are not all students, so we will use for all with a negation. Okay, so that's how this would be written. Then only one student failed in maths or mathematics. Okay, predicate. What is the predicate? And since only one, okay, that's the reason why we use there exist some X, some student X who failed in maths. Okay, so that's the representation, right? Okay, so now can you do this? The next question. Construct the truth table for not of B and A implies B. Okay, so not of B and A implies B. Okay, so another way of asking this question is check whether not of A and A implies B is valid or satisfiable. Okay, so this is another way of asking this question. So these are the type of questions which you can expect for the cycle test. Okay, so what is A implies B? What is A implies B? Single inference, or not inference, single implication. Single implication. What is A implies B? We can write it as not of A or B. So that's how we represent it. Then yesterday when we saw the different inference rules, when we learned about the inference rule, we also looked into the double implication. Okay, single implication, I think to double arrow it is shown. Okay, so this is also there, A double implication or equivalence B. What does this mean? It means A implies B and B implies A. Okay, so this is what this means. Okay, this is A implies B, not of A or B. Okay, so now can you do this? By the time I take attendance, can you do this? Construct the truth table for not of A and B, or check whether this is valid or satisfiable. So when can you say that a propositional logic is valid or satisfiable? When can you tell that? Please try responding something. Why? Because otherwise it will become too boring. In the mid-afternoon, everybody had a heavy lunch and you will go to sleep. So till 3 o'clock, I'm going to take class. So at least tell that you don't know. At least some response. Don't know. Construct a truth table. Construct a truth table means what? Truth table. Nobody knows what is a truth table, or how do we check whether it is valid or satisfiable? You construct the truth table with all the various combinations,
Okay.
and you check for the condition. And if you get a true value or 1 in all the rows, then we can say that it is valid or satisfiable. Okay, that's all I asked you to check. Okay, this is not a tough thing. Only thing is that you have to understand what the question is about. So this is your truth table construction. Now you understood what is truth table.
We know.
Okay. Please, then why no answer? Be a little bit interactive in the class. Okay, so by the time I take attendance, you fill this table. Okay, so at least, I mean, this combination I'll put it 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. Yeah, the 1, 0.
1, 0, ma'am.
And 1, 1. Yeah, 1, 0. Correct. 1, 0 and 1, 1. Okay, so you please fill all the columns, and by the time I take attendance, yeah, you please tell me. That's these are the various combinations. Very good. Okay, so now you tell me, you find out this, and you tell me whether this particular propositional logic is satisfiable or not. Okay, so I'll be taking attendance twice, not just once. So now at the beginning of the class and at the end of the class, so that will be counted for the next hour. Okay, so I'm taking for right now. Aditya, there is a danger involved, right? If I take attendance now, people will not sit for the class, right? They'll just leave. Now it is as at 45. The minute I take attendance, it will become 30. So to be on the safer side, not take attendance right now. Am I right?
As you say.
No, ma'am. It is correct, ma'am. We'll be there later.
Okay. Okay, okay, then. Okay, with that assurance. Now it is 45. So with that assurance, let me take the attendance. Okay. Please work it out and tell me whether it is satisfiable or not. Okay, wait. Shruti,
Present, ma'am.
Ryan,
Present, ma'am.
Dipanshu, Aditya Sharma. Class representative is not there. Huh? Sudha Ramakrishnan. Sudha. Sudha is also not there. Sanjay Kumar.
Yes, ma'am.
18, 19, Sanjay Kumar is there. Okay. Dipanshu Kumar, 26.
Present, ma'am.
Vishal,
Present, ma'am.
Srinjay.
Present, ma'am.
Srinjay, is it valid or satisfiable?
2 minutes, ma'am.
35. Muhammad Fasil.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Nitish Venkatesh.
Present, ma'am.
Dilip Kumar. 38. No response. 46. Shruti Kaushik.
Ma'am, he texted, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay, fine. 38 is present. Shruti is also present. What about Nitin R? 48.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Venkata Manikanta Reddy.
Yes, ma'am.
Ankit Kumar Singh.
Yes, texted, ma'am.
Okay, noted. 58. Himanshu Kumar. Okay, noted. Atul.
Present, ma'am.
Atul, is it satisfiable?
Second row.
Checking. Okay. Niharika.
Present, ma'am.
Srinidhi.
Yes, ma'am.
Sai Hemant. 92. No response. Okay, noted. 92 also noted. Nitish.
Present, ma'am.
Sridarshini.
Present, ma'am.
Fatima. 106. Okay. Sai Satish.
present, ma'am.
Santosh. Santosh, no response. Jeevesh.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. 136. Akansha Chakravarti.
Present, ma'am.
Akansha tried working out.
Yes, ma'am, doing it.
143. Venkateshwara Reddy.
Yes, ma'am.
144. Nityashri.
Present, ma'am.
Ramya Bharati.
Present, ma'am.
Jairam.
Present, ma'am.
Mona.
Present, ma'am.
Mona doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Got the answer? No,
Not
ma'am.
yet, ma'am.
Not yet, ma'am. Okay. Bala Yogesh.
Present, ma'am.
Rahul Raj.
Present, ma'am.
Sanjay Nambiar.
Present, ma'am.
Sanjay finished, no?
No, ma'am.
No. Lokeshwar.
Yes, ma'am.
Kishore. Okay. Noted. Sai Prakash.
Present, ma'am.
Naren.
Present, ma'am.
Arjun. Arjun, 182. No response. Yogeshwaran. Yogeshwaran also no response. Shrija.
Present, ma'am.
Shrija got the answer.
No, ma'am. Doing, ma'am.
Pushendran.
Present, ma'am.
Pushendran is feeling sleepy. Go wash your face and do the problem. Shruti, yes, Shruti.
Present, ma'am.
Yes, Shruti.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, noted. Manikanta.
Present,
196.
ma'am.
Okay. Deepak Venkateshwar. 197, no response. Irfan. 198. Irfan is present, right? Okay.
Present, ma'am.
Noted. Rajadurai. 201, no response. 238, Tarun Kumar.
Present, ma'am.
260, 242, Tilak. Tilak, no response. 245, Divya.
Present, ma'am.
249, Gunashekar.
Present, ma'am.
Manitarun.
Present, ma'am.
Geo Shaji. Okay, noted. Who's this? 201. 201. Okay, Rajadure, noted. Fine. With this, I'm closing the attendance for. Okay. Right. So, is it satisfiable or not? What's the
Satisfiable,
answer?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Satisfiable.
It is satisfiable, huh? Oh, is it? Okay, fine. Let's try
One
out.
three zeros I got, ma'am.
You get 1 in all the rows. It is
1 3
satisfiable.
zeros.
Yes, ma'am. Only 1 and 3 0. That's why satisfiable.
So that is, so hence it is not satisfiable. If you get a 1 in all the rows, if it is true in all the rows only, it is satisfiable or valid. Who's this?
Ma'am, full in all the rows means valid, no, ma'am. Full
Full in all
true in
the.
all rows is valid.
Wait, 1 second. I'll work it out. 1 second. Let me mark for Sudha.
Satisfiable if only one value is true, no, ma'am.
Satisfiable if it is true across all the rows. If it is true across all the rows, that is, you get 1 in all the rows. Yes,
Which one,
I'll show you now. Yeah, 1 second. I'll just show you the PPT what we discussed in yesterday's class. We discussed about it, right? And I gave you an example, and or. With and it was giving satisfiable, with or it was giving not satisfiable. Where was that? This one. See.
Yes, ma'am.
You
All
remember
ones
working,
only valid.
all ones only valid or satisfiable.
Only one means it is satisfiable, no, ma'am.
No, so it is not satisfiable. So this is valid. This is valid or satisfiable.
This is valid. Satisfiable means only one true value is there, then only satisfiable, no, ma'am. Here it will, in the last column it will be 1 0 0 0, if I'm not wrong. So there is only
Yes,
one true
1
value.
second. Right. 1 second. Yeah, let me work it out. So not of B will be 1. So this will be 0, 1, 0. So is it valid? I don't think it is valid. Let's see. A implies B is 1, 1, 0,
1.
0 and 1. I hope all of you know how do you do this. Okay. A implies
Yes,
B is not of A or B. Okay. Right. So now and of this.
1
not of B.
0 0 0.
1 into 1 is 1. 0, 0, 0. Okay.
So one
So
true
it is,
value only, ma'am. So it is satisfiable.
so this is not valid.
Not valid, no, ma'am. It is not valid. So the question is valid or satisfiable, no, ma'am.
Yeah.
It is
not
satisfiable
valid.
but not valid.
It is satisfiable, not valid.
That's what. Okay.
Yeah. Correct. Yes. It is not
Okay.
What
valid.
is the
Only if you
condition
get
for valid, ma'am?
condition for
everything should be-
valid is all should be 1. Across all the rows, it should be 1. If it
Then it
is
is
this way,
tautology, not valid, I think.
yeah. This is not the case in this case. You just asked me what is validity or valid.
In that
So
example
then
which
it
you
is,
showed, it was valid, no, ma'am.
yeah. This example, it was valid. Got it right? So, okay. So okay. Right. So now let's come back to our PPT. Just a second. Okay, we had discussed predicate logic, so we can work out a few more. Okay. Okay, we'll work out something called resolution. We had worked out something yesterday, no? I had given an example. I think the example what I gave was this. Do you remember this? If it is humid and it will be raining, then I stay dry. Resolving, resolution. Resolution we had taken up. So maybe we'll work out 1 or 2 cases to understand resolution in a better manner. Okay, so where did we stop yesterday? Okay, So yesterday we discussed about propositional logic, which is based on facts. And then, then we also discussed about predicate logic. Predicate logic means not just facts, it will have relationships and objects. So predicate logic is something which will make the representation more compact, which will help you to get compact representation. Okay, so then we also looked into an example regarding when you're given the knowledge base, how do you derive a inference? Okay, so how do you derive an inference? I think this was the inference what we looked into in yesterday's class. Okay, right. So when you have something called P and Q. Okay, then another statement, P implies Q. Okay, so we have these two. Okay, we have these two. So now how do we resolve this and find out what is the inference? Okay, find out what is the inference. So these are the two statements given to us. Okay, so then how do we go about resolving this? So these are the two statements which are being given to us. Okay, or two propositional logics or clauses which are being given to us. How do we resolve this and find the inference? Inference. So what do we do in this case? What do we do in this case? How can we go about this? How can I resolve this? How do I resolve this? P and Q. What can I do when you have an and in between? What does our rule tell when you have something called P and Q? How do we go about? P and Q, how do we go about? See, what does this conjunction elimination rule tell you? When you have an and operator in between, so what did we do here? We split it into two parts. See, Mary is female and Mary is rich. Okay, so when we had an and operator, so you break the expression into two separate facts. So can we do that here? So I'm breaking the expression P and Q into two separate facts. Okay, so I make it as P and Q. Okay, so I have resolved the first one. Then what about P implies Q? What about P implies Q? So that as per our inference rule, P implies Q is not of P or Q. Okay, not of P or Q. Okay, then as per the resolution principle, I can cancel my P and not P. Okay, as per my resolution principle, I can cancel P and not P. Okay, so then what am I left with? So these two I can strike out. As per my resolution principle, I can strike out these two. Okay, so what am I left with? I am left with Q. Okay, so what is my inference? My inference is Q, or my goal is Q. So this is as per my resolution principle. Okay. See here, the resolution principle comes. Okay, so when you have X or some literal, okay, so then not of X or some other literal. Okay, so what you do is you cancel this X and not X, and then you will have what can you conclude? You will have some literal or some other literal. Okay, so that's what the resolution principle tells you. Okay, so as per the resolution principle, I conclude or I infer that I'm getting an inference is equal to Q. Okay, so right. So now with this understanding, I'll give you a sentence. Okay, I'll give you a sentence. You just try resolving it. Okay, so the sentence is, if I am if I am wealthy, then I am happy. Okay, I am happy. This is another sentence. Okay, therefore, I am wealthy. Okay, so these are the three sentences given to me, three predicate sentences given to me. If I'm wealthy, then I'm happy. I'm happy. Therefore, I am wealthy. Okay, so for wealthy, I will write as W. For happy, I'll write it as H. Okay, so short form rather than wasting the time writing the entire thing. Okay, so how do I resolve it? How do I resolve it? I'm having three predicate sentences. So how to resolve is the question. Are people listening?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. So how do I resolve it? So my first sentence is, if I'm wealthy, then I'm happy. So how will I write this? Wealthy, if then. Okay, so single implication. Okay, so wealthy, I'm happy. This is my first sentence. Then W is I'm wealthy, H is I'm happy. Then what is the second sentence? Second sentence is I am happy. So how do I represent this? How do I represent this? Okay, this anyway I have written. My first sentence I have written. How do I write my second sentence? How do I write my second sentence? Second sentence is I'm happy. How do I write it? Already H is I'm happy. So it is H. Okay. Therefore, I am wealthy. Third sentence. Okay. So now how to resolve this? So I'm having all the three sentences now. How do I resolve it? Can you resolve and tell me what is the inference from it? Can you resolve these statements and tell me what is the inference? W implies H. Then H and W. Can somebody resolve all the three statements and tell me what is the implication? Sorry, what is the inference? What is the inference? Can somebody tell me? Work it out, please. Are you people able to understand? So anymore, I'm not having the attendance book in my hand. Don't keep on texting in the message window. Okay, so what do you do? How do we resolve this? W implies H. How do I do it? What will I first do? I will have to remove my eliminate by implication. I will have to eliminate by implication. How will I eliminate my implication? How do I do that? Come on, somebody tell me. Just now we did it, right? See this. P implies Q. What did we do? Not of P or Q, right? Not of P or Q. Same way you resolve it. Same way you resolve the first statement. Same way when you resolve, what happens? Not of W or H. Then you have H and then you have W. So from these three, what is the conclusion now? What is the inference now? Darshini, what is the inference now? What is the inference now?
Not sure, ma'am.
Not sure. So can I strike out these according to the resolution principle? According to the resolution principle, not of W and W can be striked out. Okay, so what remains out here for us? What remains is H. So what is H? H is I am happy. So my inference is H. Got it? Are you understanding? Inference is yes, ma'am. Got it, right? That's it. So it's a simple thing. Okay. So my inference is H. It is only you are resolving the implication, eliminating the implication, and then applying the resolution principle. Okay. So you accordingly, right? So I'll give you one more sentence. I'll give you one more sentence. This I want somebody to answer. If I study, then I will not fail basket weaving. If I study, then I will not fail basket weaving. If I do not play cards too often, then I will study. I failed basket weaving. Instead of basket weaving, you can put it as WhatsApping. That will be more appropriate. Therefore, I played cards too often. Okay. If I study, then I will not fail basket weaving. If I do not play cards too often, then I will study. I failed basket weaving. Therefore, I played cards too often. Okay, basket weaving, you can put it as BW. Playing cards, you can put it as PC. Okay, so basket weaving, BW, cards, PC. So now I'm having 4 sentences. Okay, so how do I write the first sentence? How do I write? I need to frame the first order logic for all these things. Okay, how do I write the first sentence? If I study, then I will not fail basket weaving. Okay, study, I'll put it as S. Okay, so if then definitely it will be single implication. Then not fail basket weaving. Okay, not symbol was there somewhere here. Okay. Basket weaving. Okay, so this is my first statement. Okay, then what is my second statement? If I do not play cards too often, then I will study. If I do not play cards too often, then I will study. Do not play cards. Do not play cards. So not of playing cards implies single implication studying. Then I failed basket weaving. Okay. Then therefore I played cards too often. Played cards. Okay. So now resolve this and tell me, apply resolution, resolve this and tell me what is your inference and whether it is matching with what is being given here, whether it is valid or satisfiable or whatever. Can somebody do this and tell me? Are you doing this? Are you giving a try? Yes or no?
This one, ma'am.
This one. You please resolve this and tell me. Whether you are getting the final inference as played cards. Whether it is valid or whether it is, you can say, satisfiable. Started resolving. This can be put as A implies B. That is not of A or B, you can put it. Okay. So I'll put it as not of S. I'm resolving this. Anybody finished?
No, ma'am.
A or B. The first statement I can put it in the form of A implies B is equal to not of A or B form. So applying the same thing here, I will put it as not of S okay. I have put it in the form of not of A or B. My B is not BW, basket weaving. Okay, so this is my first one. The second one also I can put it in the same manner. Okay, so then what happens here? So this is my A, this is my B. Okay, so now this becomes not of A. Not of A means not of A it is becoming. Okay. Then yes. Okay. So what about this not of not? Double implication. Double implication, what do you do? Double implication, what do you do? See, implication elimination, double negation elimination, not of not. Not of A becomes A is equivalent to A. Did you see this? So I'm going to apply this rule here. Double negation elimination. Double negation elimination. I'm going to apply that. Okay, so when I apply that here, what happens? What happens? Not of PC means what? PC, right? PC becomes this. I'm eliminating the double negation. Double negation elimination. Double negation elimination. So this statement becomes this. Following. Okay. Then what about the next statement? Next can be as such. There is no resolution there. This will be this. Now 4 statements. So now what do I do? I'll write it down once again for you to apply the resolution principle without any confusion. So this is the first one. This is the second one. This is the second one. This is the third and fourth one. Okay, so now what do I do? What do I do now? You apply the resolution principle. Okay, when you apply the resolution principle, what happens? When you apply the resolution principle, what happens? What and all can you strike out? Somebody please respond. What can I strike out? Can I strike out this and this? S and not of S can be striked out? Yes or no? At least in the chat window, you put an yes. Then, Jairam, sleeping in the class or listening? Jairam?
Yes, ma'am.
Doing? Okay. Then these two I strike out. Same way, basket weaving and not basket weaving. So both I strike out. So what remains here? What remains here? What is pending? PC. What is PC? Playing cards. So that's what I was expected to get. So that's what. So this is my inference. This is my inference. Right? Fine. So what were I doing? So you're given an English sentence. Okay. So you're given some English sentence. You convert it into first order logic statement. Okay. Then wherever you have implication, you remove it. Okay. So we went ahead removing the implication. We had an implication here. We had an implication here. We applied the implication elimination rule and we removed the implication. Then you resolve it by resolution. Okay. So you apply the resolution principle. Okay. So the positive and the negative literals getting cancelled, gets cancelled. And then finally you are left with your goal. Okay. So that's what. So that is what your resolution is all about. Okay. So your resolution principle. Your resolution principle. What it says is, I had shown in one of the slides, X or some literal, not of X or some other literal. So X and not X getting cancelled and you're left with some literal or some other literal. Okay. So when you have A and not of A. Okay. So then, so let's call the output as Y. So this is nothing but A and not of A. Okay. So if it is 0, it will be 1. If it is 1, it will be 0. So this will be 0 and 0. Okay. So that's what A and not A equal to 0. So that's what your resolution principle tells you. Okay. So that's what I just wanted to tell you. Okay. So now let's come back to our PPT. We worked out some problems. So these are the kind of problems which you can expect. Representing something in first order logic, constructing the truth table, finding whether it is valid, then finding out the inference. Okay, then, yeah. Now coming back to our, do you remember which slide we discussed last? I think we were somewhere in 50s. We discussed the predicate logic, propositional logic, inference. This was the inference we discussed. Okay, so next is about reasoning patterns. Okay, so next what we're going to discuss is reasoning patterns. Okay, so please make a note. Okay, so it will be interesting for those who listen. For others, it will be Greek and Latin. Okay, so please listen. Okay, so out here, we're going to discuss about, not in detail, a mention about the reasoning patterns. So there are basically two types of reasoning. There are two types of reasoning. One is what is called the forward reasoning, and another one is what is called the backward reasoning. Okay, so forward reasoning means when you start with a set of facts and you derive the goal. You derive the goal. So that is what is called forward reasoning. Okay, so in forward reasoning, you need to reach the goal from a set of given facts. Okay, yeah, that's what we have been doing. Okay, so when you have P and Q, and when we have P implies Q. Okay, so these are these two are facts. This is a fact, this is another fact. So you start with these facts and then you try to derive the goal. So what is the goal or inference? you make a resolution. P and Q, you can put it as P, Q. Then P implies Q can be written as not of P or Q. Then P and P cancels, and finally you get the goal as Q. Okay, that's what is your forward reasoning all about. Okay, so backward reasoning means you start with your. So backward reasoning means you start from the conclusion what you want, and you try to choose the inference rules. You try to choose the inference rule. What are the inference rules? These. Okay, choose the inference rules. So that will get you back the logical expression what you have. Okay, so that's what is backward reasoning all about. Okay, so you don't have it in much detail. So that's what your forward reasoning and backward reasoning is all about. Okay, so this is another example. I think this is the same example what we had discussed in yesterday's class. I think we need not discuss it again. Should we discuss it again? I think this is a repetition slide. Then the point to be noted is there need not be one conclusion. There can be even more than one conclusion. Okay, so here you can write this as raining or sunny. The first statement, this one. Then second one can be written, if it is sunny implies it is I stay dry. Sunny implies dry. Then raining implies umbrella. Then I take umbrella. Umbrella implies I stay dry. Okay, so what do you do? So how do we go about resolving this? Okay, so rainy or sunny. Then S implies D can be written as not of S or D. Then this can be written as not of R or U. Then not of U or D. Okay, so this and this gets cancelled. S and not of S gets cancelled. U and not of U gets cancelled. Finally, you are left with I stay dry. So that was the conclusion. Okay, that we had already done. Okay, then a recap of what is called your predicate calculus, which is also called as your first order logic. Okay, so this I don't want to tell it again. Yesterday we had discussed this. Okay, these are all the components of your predicate calculus. We had already seen this 5 components. Okay, quantifiers, functions, predicates, and all these things. Okay, so you have all these constants, functions, predicates. So why do we need all these things? Okay, so we need all these things to construct your first order logic sentences. Your first order logic sentences. For that purpose, we need all these components. Okay, right. Then an important concept and important property associated with it is what is called a quantification. You have 2 types of quantification. One is called what is called your universal quantification, and the second one is what is called your existential quantification. Okay, so this quantifiers are actually very important with respect to your propositional calculus or with respect to your first order calculus. Okay, and rules are also associated with it. Okay, so actually when the difference between your universal and existential quantification is, so if you are referring to the population at a large, okay, as a whole, then we go for what is called your universal quantification. Okay, but then when we refer to a subset of a population, okay, when we refer to a subset of a population, then we go for what is called your existential quantification. Okay, so you can see here. So for all x, so for implication is the main connective with respect to a universal quantification. This is a point to be noted. Then, whereas with respect to your existential quantification, and is the main connective with existential quantification. Okay, so this, the main is implies, okay, single implication, whereas here it will be and. So this line is important. Okay, so you can see here, we have 2 sentences. One is this. Okay, then yeah, so which means that for all x, all people at Villanova are smart. Okay, for all x, yeah, for all x, if he is at Villanova, he is smart. Okay, so one of the common mistake is using and as the major connective with for all, I mean universal quantification, and should be used only in the case of existential quantification. Okay, so and so okay, so we generally people tend to make this mistake. They tend to use and with universal quantification and implies with existential quantification. Okay, so that's a mistake which people generally use. Okay, so when you do that, the meaning itself changes. Okay, so when we use and here, okay, in case we make this mistake, and here, what it means is everyone is at Villanova and everyone is smart. Okay, so that's one thing to be noted as far as a universal quantification is concerned. So universal quantification is actually meant for the referring to the entire population. Okay, and you use this connective. This is the connective which is being used with universal quantification. Then when we come to existential quantification, so this refers to a particular population or a subset of a population. Okay, so this is the connective which is being used with existential quantification. Okay, so what does this mean? So this means that there exists someone who is at Villanova and is smart. Okay, so then this is the common mistake that people use it. Okay, so to summarize both the quantifiers, okay, so this is being used with universal quantifier and this connective is being used with existential quantifier. Okay, so now coming to understanding the properties of quantifiers, you should be knowing all these things. Inference rules, the basic inference rules, then what are the properties associated with the quantifiers, what is existential and what is universal quantifier, and then coming to the properties. Okay, so this, okay, so for all x, for all y is same as for all y, for all x. Okay, so this is permitted. Okay, so I mean, you're not interchanging x and y within the function. Okay, you have a function here, loves x comma y. So you're not interchanging the x within x and y within the function. You are just interchanging for all x and for all y. So that can be written as for all y and for all x. Okay, so this is another thing to be noted. So these are the properties of quantifiers which you can expect for exam. Okay, you can change the order in which it can be written, but then within the function it cannot be. Okay, then you have this. There exists x, there exists y is same as there exists y, there exists x. These both are the same. Okay, then this is a point to be noted. So what this tells you is if the quantifiers are of different category, if they are of different category. So here, when they are of the same category, you can put it in, you can change the order. X can become y, y can become x. But then here, you can see here, this is an existential quantifier and this is a universal quantifier. So there exists x and for all y is not same as for all y and there exists x. Okay, so this is something to be noted, very important. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, you can see the statement here. There is a person who loves everyone in the world. Okay, so for all y, there exists a x. For all y, there exists a x. So everyone in the world is loved by at least one person. Okay, so the entire interpretation changes now. The meaning itself changes. Okay, so in short, what I want to tell you is changing the place of there exists and for all. There exists and for all will create issues. Okay, so if both belong to the same category, changing the order will not create any issue. Other than that, if the quantifiers are of different categories, changing their order creates the issue. In the sense, your meaning itself will change. Okay, then finally you have something called the duality. Duality of the quantifiers. Duality. Okay, so what is duality? So express something which can be, each can be expressed using the other. Okay, each can be expressed using other. Actually, this is not very popularly being used. Okay, so each can be expressed in terms of the other. for all x likes x comma ice cream. Okay, it's something like there doesn't exist some people who doesn't like ice cream. Okay, so you can see here there doesn't exist for now. Who does? Yeah, this is a not symbol. Okay, you can, this is same as this. It can be expressed in terms of each other. Okay, but then the point to be noted is don't exchange for all and your existential quantifier. So dualities you can express in terms of each other. Okay, that's another thing, the property of the quantifier. Please make a note of all these things. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to do things and answer the questions. So next, coming to parenthesis. Are you all listening? Listening?
Yes, ma'am.
At least text in the chat window you are listening. Please, these are all very interesting concepts. But the thing is, we have to go a little bit fast, and only if you listen, it will be interesting. Otherwise, it will not be interesting. Okay, next, coming to the concept of parenthesis. Okay, so parenthesis, yeah, generally we use it along with quantifiers, your existential quantifier or your universal quantifier. Okay, so parenthesis will define the scope of that particular application. Okay, so many expressions with parenthesis is being put in different ways. You can see here. So you can see all these things. Okay, are all these same or it is different? Actually, they're all the same. It is not different. Okay, even if I don't use the brackets, if you delete the bracket also, it is the same. Only thing is that your, function, you cannot change the parenthesis for a function. That is likes of x comma ice cream should be written like that only. You should have a parenthesis. This parenthesis is a must. Okay, so but then this I can write without the, I can delete the parenthesis. I can delete all these parentheses. Okay, so but then you cannot change the parenthesis for a function. So function should be, yeah, that's a thing to be taken care. So parenthesis defines the scope of the particular application. So now coming to some more rules regarding it. Okay, so there are two important rules. So two important rules. So you can see that not of for all x comma p of x implies not of x comma not of p of x. Please make a note of all these things, an important rule. Okay, so not of for all x is same as there exists x. Okay, so this part not of for all x is same as same as there exists x. And yeah, there exists x comma not of p of x. This is same as this. This implies this. Okay, so same way, if we apply not for there exists of x. So see, you can see here, not for there exists of x, it becomes for all x. It becomes for all x. Okay, so let me summarize this. Okay, so negation operation. So this negation operation, not, when applied to for all, it becomes there exist. Okay, similarly, when negation operation is applied to there exist, it becomes for all. Okay, so that's what I wanted to tell you. Right, so next we move on to the, we are done with this topic. Next we move on to the unification and resolution. Okay, right, say let's say you have two facts, say A and B. Okay, so let's say A is it's raining, B is it's humid. Okay, so if you are applying a single operand rule, that is a not operator, then you can represent it as not of A. B can be represented as not of B. Okay, so if you are going to apply a two operand rule, then there can be n into n minus 1 potential ways to apply a two operand rule. Okay, so you basically start with a large collection of facts or predicates. Then you start with a large collection of possible transformation or rules. Okay, when you say rules, it can be the basic rules or double negation or negation elimination, implication elimination, conjunction elimination. What is conjunction elimination? Conjunction is nothing but and. P and Q can be written as P, Q separately, or bringing negation inside the parenthesis. Okay, so after applying all these rules, you will get some facts. Okay, so now new fact. Okay, so your rule base will have some new fact. So you can use a single fact to yield a new fact, or you can use a pair of facts to yield new facts. So this way you derive new facts depending upon the operator you use, whether it is a binary operator or a unary operator or whatever. The search space is something which is huge. Okay, so right. So now I think the resolution already I told you what it is. Now coming to the fact base. Okay, so how coming to the fact base, how to apply a resolution to a problem. Okay, so here you have something. Seafood of X implies, implication, single implication implies likes John, X. Okay, X is a variable. Okay, so this X can be anything. This X can be anything. Okay, so if there is some seafood, which is X, just a second. Okay, so I was just telling this, okay, how to apply the resolution to a problem. So I just mentioned is X is a variable and it can be anything. Okay, so what it means is if there is some seafood, which is X, then John likes that seafood. Okay, so I'm writing seafood of shrimp. So here X is becoming shrimp. X becomes shrimp. Okay, so you can write seafood of X implies John, X, which means John likes shrimp. Okay, so you just look at the next one. You are having something called pasta of X, implies not of likes Mary, X. So here X is a different variable. Okay, so pasta of X means Mary doesn't like that X. Not symbol is there, doesn't like that X. So here the two X variables are not the same. Here X is, what is X here? X is spaghetti here. Here X was shrimp. Here it means spaghetti. Okay, so first X was representing some seafood, or it was representing the shrimp. The second one is representing what is called here spaghetti. Okay, so what I mean to tell is the scope of the variable X belongs to a particular fact. It belongs to a particular fact. So you can see here pasta of Y implies not likes of Mary, Y, and pasta of spaghetti. You can rename the variable as Y and use it as such. Okay, so if you don't want both to be X, one can be X and other one can be Y. So what we have to note down here is the scope of the variable belongs to that particular fact. So that's what the fact base tells you. Okay, so next coming to the clause form. Somebody's microphone is not muted. It's creating some disturbance. Can you please mute the microphone, please? Who's that person who wants to disturb me? Who's it? I think Venkatesh Yanam. What's your number? Venkatesh, you please mute your microphone, please. Or you want to share some thoughts? Venkatesh, please mute your microphone. Venkatesh is not near the system itself. Okay, fine, thank you. Okay, so now coming to the next one, clause form. Are you all listening? Venkatesh is listening, huh? Who's listening now? Who's listening? Can somebody tell that you're listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Listening. Oh, okay. I'm feeling depressed. Teaching AI, hardcore subject in the mid-afternoon. I don't even know whether people are listening or not. Okay, coming to core clause form. Okay, so clause form, please make a note of all these headings in your notebook. That itself will create a lot of difference. A clause is a disjunction. That is or, disjunction is or, this one. Of zero or more literals, some or all of which may be negated. Okay, so disjunction is the clausal form which is being discussed here. When you say clausal form, it is all about disjunction. Okay, so when you have something like sings of x, or dissolves x comma, okay, so when you have this, all these, see, you can see disjunction put together, we are not taking this as an independent clause. If it was and, p and q means, you can put p separately and q separately. But then in the case of clausal form disjunction, we are not taking this as independent clause. We treat this as sum of all the clauses, all facts considered together. Okay, so the impressive part is that any predicate calculus expression can be put into a clausal form. Okay, so that's what has to be noted. Next is about unification. Unification means replacing one variable with another. Okay, so that I think I had given here, explained here. It is the same thing. Where was our this? This was actually unification happening. Okay, the same thing. We are putting it under the heading unification. Replacing one variable with another. Okay, so here X stands for shrimp. Here, I think the spaghetti example is not being given here. Okay, likes John, shrimp. Okay, unifying the variable X with a constant called shrimp. Okay, so the unification turns seafood of X implies likes John, X. Okay, so this can be further resolved. Okay, now finally telling the resolution principle. This is not something new. This I had been telling. Okay, so that's what we were doing, in fact, the resolution principle. We were applying the resolution principle and coming to the inference or finding out the goal, what it is. Okay, X or some literal, not of X or some other literal. This gets cancelled. You get some literal or some other literal. Okay, so then you can see here, broke off Bob, or well fed of Bob. So not broke of Bob or not hungry of Bob. Okay, so you can resolve this. Okay, and you can strike out these two, broke off Bob and not broke off Bob. Finally, you are left with well fed of Bob or not hungry of Bob. So that's what the resolution principle tells you. Okay, then the point to be noted is when you do resolution, you can do only one resolution at a time. Step by step, it has to be done, not everything together, one by one. Okay, so when you have this sort of a statement, broke of Bob or well fed of Bob or happy of Bob. Okay, so or not Bob. I mean, when you have this, you can resolve on broke or you can resolve on happy. See, broke can be resolved or happy also can be resolved. Okay, but then one at a time. Okay, first you can look into broke, then you can happy. Okay, that's how you cannot resolve on both at once. Okay, one at a time, one by step or one at a time. So otherwise, it can result in an error. Okay, so that's what the error problem is all about. So next. Okay, so coming to what is a contradiction. Contradiction. Okay, so when you say contradiction, there are two things to tell. One is what is called tautology. Tautology. Tautology means always true. Always true. So the opposite of tautology is what is called contradiction, which means it is always false. Okay. So tautology, you can say it's a formula which is always true. Okay. So it is true for every assignment of the truth value to its simple components. Okay. So this tautology is actually a rule of logic. Okay. So this opposite for tautology is nothing but your contradiction, which means it is always false. Okay. So you can call a proposition, let's say P, as a tautology if it is true under all circumstances. Okay. So it means it contains only T or 1. Okay. In the final column of the truth table. Okay. So that's in the final column of the truth table. You have everything as 1. Then we call it as a tautology. Okay. So that's what. Okay. So you have a example which is being mentioned here. Okay. So let's try to do that example. Just a second. Okay, so I think you would have learned this tautology and contradiction in your discrete maths, right? Am I right? Have you learned it or not? Can somebody tell me? I'll just give this as a homework to you. You please, tomorrow's class, I'll ask you to upload in GCR. That's the best way, and associate marks with it. Then only people does it. Why is it this way in this class? Is it only for AI or for all the classes? So you prove that this is a homework for you for tomorrow. So I told you what is a tautology, what is a contradiction. So you prove that this statement the statement is what happened? Okay, this is the statement given to you. P implies Q, then not of Q implies not of P is a tautology. Okay, so this is one question which is being given to you. So prove that this statement is a tautology. So how do you prove that it is a tautology? You will have to draw the truth table. Put columns P, Q, P implies Q, not of Q, not of P, not of Q, not of P. Then by conditional. Then you see whether the last column in the truth table you get all. You ensure that you get all ones. Then you can prove that it's a tautology. Have you made a note of this question? So can somebody take a picture of this and put it in the WhatsApp group? Who will do that? Aditya, are you there in the class to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Please take a picture of this. Just a second, I'll show you. This question up to here. Okay, so prove that this statement is a tautology. Taken?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then one more homework. One more homework is there's one more statement given to you. This you need to show that the statement is a contradiction. Okay, show that the statement P and not P, P and not P is a contradiction. Okay, so what is a contradiction? This also you please take a picture and put it in the WhatsApp group, in our class WhatsApp group, AI WhatsApp group. So what is a contradiction? A statement that is always false is a contradiction. Okay, so you have to show that this statement P and not P is a contradiction. Then that is for that purpose. What will you do? This is very easy. I think this is already done. Somewhere I have shown this, right? This itself is what it means. P and not P, A and not A I have done. See, this is already being done. Contradiction. This is a contradiction. See. So let's say this is P and this is not P. So P and not P. See, it is giving a contradiction, a zero value or a false value at the last column. Then we call it as a contradiction. So more than that, you make a note of this. You prove this as a tautology. Draw the truth table for this. Draw the truth table. It will have, P should be one column, then Q, then P implies Q, then not of Q, not of P. So similarly, prepare the truth table, assign all values, and finally conclude that the last column is a contradiction. I mean, tautology. It's always true, getting the value 1. Done. Fine. Right. So now let's come back to the PPT. Okay. So you can see here. In the case of contradiction, what you basically do is, the goal will be given. It's called actually refutation. Refutation is nothing but your proof by contradiction. Refutation is nothing but you are proving proof by contradiction. Refutation is nothing but proof by contradiction. So what you basically do is, the goal will be given to you. Goal will be given. Okay, so you need to negate it, add negation to it, and then you need to take it as one more clause. Okay, so for the asked goal, we will negate the goal and we will add it to the given statement to prove the contradiction. Okay, so that's what you basically do. Refutation. We learned resolution. This is refutation, resolution. Refutation is nothing but proof by contradiction. Okay, so what you do here is, you can see here, hungry of Bob. So what you do is, this is our, let's say this is our goal. Okay, so you need to negate it, negation of hungry of Bob, and you take it as one more clause. So now this is one clause, this is another clause. Okay, then you have to prove it. Okay, so hungry of Bob and not hungry of Bob, automatically you can resolve it and you finally get the thing as nil. So this is what is basically your contradiction all about. Okay, so here you can see, this is I think another example. Okay, so everywhere that John goes, Rover goes. John is at school. Okay, so you're writing. Then you use the implication elimination. Okay, that is, this statement is being written as not of at John comma X or at Rover comma X. This is X implies Y. X implies Y is not of X or Y. Okay, then this is written as such. So you can resolve at both of these. These at. Okay, then you resolve it. These two can be striked out and you get it as at Rover comma school. You have to unify X with school. So this will give at Rover comma school. Okay, so that's what your, okay, this is another example. Yeah, you are resolving it. Example of refutation resolution. Yeah, you're resolving 1 and 3. Okay, you're negating it in writing and resolving 1 and 3. Resolving 1 and 3. Okay, so when you resolve 1 and 3, you get not of at John comma X. Then you resolve your second one and fourth one, which will result in a nil. Okay, you conclude the negation of the added clause. Okay, so this is what is proof by contradiction. Okay, the same thing can be done here too. Okay, so this we had resolved and found out. We had come to an inference that I stayed dry. Okay, so this is by contradiction. Proof by contradiction, refutation. So what you basically do is you take the fifth one and the second one. So fifth and second one, you will get it as, yeah, not of iced 5 and 2, not of it is sunny, 6 and 1. So now this will be 6, and the first one will give you it is raining. Then fifth and fourth, not of I take umbrella, 8 and 3, not of raining. So those two gets cancelled, and you finally land up with nil. Okay, so that's what. Okay, so now that's what is refutation, proof by contradiction. Okay, so the goal will be given. You need to negate it, and you need to take it as one more clause. So for the asked goal, we will negate the goal and we'll add it to the given statement to prove the contradiction. You are proving the contradiction. Okay, so the next topic is converting into CNF. CNF is nothing but conjunctive normal form. It stands for this is very, very important. You can expect it in the part C. Conjunctive normal form. Normal form, you have 9 rules for this. With the help of the 9 rules, you will be asked to convert a sentence to conjunctive normal form. Okay, so resolution we learned, single inference rule. Okay, so from resolution, whenever you did resolution, you would have noticed that resolution is applied only to disjunctions. That is, you will be having this or. Okay, but when you say rules, rules can be conjunction form also, with and also. Okay, so in that case, what we need to do is you need to convert them into what is called your CNF, which is nothing but conjunction of disjunctions. Okay, conjunction of disjunctions. Conjunction of disjunctions. Do you remember about this conjunction of disjunction somewhere in the inference rules? See, conjunction of disjunctions. Okay. Okay. So now, so this is what is CNF, conjunctive normal form. Okay, so CNF is basically a conjunction of clauses where the clauses are disjunction of literals. Okay, so while converting, we need to carry out certain steps. Okay, so there are 9 steps. This slide shows you 4 steps, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So these 9 steps you have to follow meticulously to convert a sentence into what is called a CNF. Okay, so you can expect it for 10 marks or 12 marks or whatever comes in the part B or C. For your exam, it is a definite question. Okay, so what the first rule tells you is, these are the steps which has to be carried out. So what the first step tells you is, eliminate this connective. What is this connective? What is the name of this connective? What is this? Ramayana is almost halfway through. I'm asking what is the relation of Rama to Sita? Nobody knows. I'm feeling miserable. Can somebody tell me what is this? What that connective is? Name, only the name I'm asking. Whom should I ask in this class to get an answer? We have 2 reps in the class. Reps, whom should I ask to get an answer? What connective is this? What connective is? I think you would have also used it this way. Both are the same. This is single implication. This way also you can represent. What is this? Bidirectional implication. So what the first step tells you is, are you all listening? At least an answer for that, please. Atul, listening? Yes, ma'am. Roll number 19 is listening. Thank you. Okay, please keep listening. Okay. previous day of the exam, don't ask me important questions. Those who are sleeping in the class. Okay, so first step is eliminate the bidirectional implication. So in case bidirectional implication exists, it has to be eliminated. How it has to be eliminated is this. This is actually the bidirectional implication rule itself. Okay, so if you have a bidirectional implication, you have to put it in this form. In term, connect it with a and, a conjunction. Okay, so P implies Q and Q implies P. Then second step. What does the second step tell you? If an implication exists, a single implication exists, eliminate it in this manner. This also you know. P implies Q means not of P or Q. That is the second step. Then third step. Reduce the scope of each negation symbol to a single predicate. Okay, so by applying you can see here double negation, not of P equal to P, or you can apply the De Morgan's theorem. You can rewrite all the rules like this. Apply the De Morgan's theorem and rewrite all the rules like this. Okay, not of P or Q will become C, or becomes and becomes or. Make a note of all these things. Okay, not of for all becomes there exist. Not of there exist becomes for all. Okay, so all these things you should be knowing by heart. Okay, so there's no point in telling by heart these days, right? Everything is Code Tantra and Google Form, so you will easily manage. It's all about managing. Okay, so please manage. That is the most appropriate terminology. Okay, so third step is reduce the scope of each negation symbol to a single predicate. Okay, so you apply the De Morgan's theorem and rewrite the rules as follows. Then the fourth step is standardize the variables. This is very, very important. Please listen. Wash your face and sit in front and listen. Standardize the variables. Okay, so say you have two variables. Okay, so let's say you have f of x. You have f of x, and in another place you again have the same f of x. Okay, this belongs to one quantifier, this belongs to another quantifier. Okay, so you change the scope of this second x as, put this as y, make this as f of y, and let each quantifier have its own unique variable names. Let each quantifier have its own unique variable names. Okay, so that's what standardizing is all about. Rename all the variables so that each quantifier has its own unique variable names. So you have f of x, another place you have another f of x, but when both belongs to different quantifiers. Okay, so you make this x as y. Okay, rename. So that's what is standardizing. Renaming is standardizing. Okay, that's a fourth rule. Anybody noting down? Next, fifth rule. Fifth rule, what it says is columnization. Fifth rule is about columnization. Okay, columnization. So what I want to tell you is, so columnization is basically for eliminating your you eliminate your existential quantifier. That is, you eliminate your there exist by introducing column constants or functions. Okay, so you apply what is called columnization and you eliminate there exist. Your existential quantifier has to be eliminated. Okay, so the objective of this columnization is to end up in a form having no explicit existential quantifier. Okay, so that's the objective of your columnization. So wherever you have your existential quantifier, that is inverted E, you replace it with appropriate column functions. Okay, so for example, you have this. Okay, for all x, you have this. For all x, there exists y, p of x comma y. Okay, so here we have for all x, so there exists a y. and you have also a predicate, P of X comma Y. Okay, so if you have this kind of a predicate, okay, so wherever you find this, there exists Y. Okay, so you can replace there exists Y as a function of X. You can replace it as a function of X. Okay, so if you have P of X comma Y, P of X comma Y, so that will become P of X comma F of X. Okay, so Y becomes F of X. Y is becoming F of X, and then you eliminate there exist. This there exist of Y. This is in case you have a there exist Y in front. Okay, so when you have a there exist Y, P of X comma Y, what you do is your Y becomes F of X and you eliminate there exist Y. Okay, so you can see here for all X there exists Y loves of X comma Y. That is for all X there exists a Y loves X comma Y. So when we have a predicate like this, what it means is for all X there exists someone, that is some Y which is being loved by X. Okay, so Y is some person loved by X, and that is being defined by F of X. Okay, so that's what this is, not implication symbol. Don't confuse here. Okay, so wherever you have this sort of function, you have to columnize it. That's the fifth rule. Okay, next rule, sixth rule, what it says is, previously it was all about, columnization is all about removing or eliminating existential quantifier. So next is about universal quantifier for all. Okay, so you remove the quantifiers. There are 3 steps to be followed, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so what you first do is you move all the existential quantifiers to the extreme left, left end, and then drop them. Okay, so yeah, so it's always good to put your sentences into the so that's what I mean. Yeah, removing the universal quantifier, remove them all to the extreme end. Okay, make the scope of each the entire sentence and finally drop them. In short, what you basically do is you push everything to the left and finally drop them. Okay, so that's what you do as far as the existential quantifier is concerned. For all X, P of X becomes P of X. Okay, if it's a very huge sentence, you move them to the left and then drop it. Then seventh step is put into conjunctive normal form, that is conjunction of a disjunction. Okay, it's always good to put your sentences into your conjunctive normal form, that is as a conjunction of disjunctions using the distributive law or your associative law. These 2 laws you are familiar with. Okay, distributive law and associative law. Okay, so when you have something like P and Q or R, you cannot split this into 2 sentences telling that it is P and Q and R, because this is a disjunction. If it was if it was a conjunction, then you could have split it into 2 sentences. Then this is right. But then when it is a disjunction, P and Q or R, I cannot split it into 2 sentences. Okay, so that's the point. So instead, you will have to write it as a conjunction of disjunctions. Okay, that's what I will. In this, you will have to write it as P or Q, or P or R. This is R. Oh, wait, it's all. Okay, so in case you have something like P and Q or R, then you cannot split it. Instead, you will have to put it as P or R and Q or R. That's a point to be noted. If it is and, then you can make it as 2 separate clauses. If it is or, put it as a conjunction of disjunction. Conjunction of disjunctions. Okay, it is not a compound sentence. Instead, it's 2 different predicate sentences. Okay, so that's what. Are people listening? Okay, let us finish this. So, okay, so when you have this P or Q or R. So here we cannot apply conjunction of disjunction. We will have to, here we'll have only or, not conjunction, or. Okay, so you apply the associative property. You can put it as P or Q or okay. So then after that, the next step, what the next step is tells you is, let's see what the 8th step tells you is, split the conjuncts into separate clauses. Separate clauses. So what it means is, this can be one clause. P. This can be one clause. Then your Q and or R. Okay, this can be another clause. You split it into different clauses. Okay, so that's what then last one is standardize. The standardize the variables so that each clause contains only variable names that do not occur in any other clause. This is actually same as rule number 4. Okay, in case any standardization has to be done, renaming of the variable has to be done. So if you follow these 9 steps, you can convert your sentence into a conjunctive normal form. Okay, so hope you have listened. So next is actually the example for it. An illustration is being given here. Okay, an illustration is given here. And then you are supposed to apply all these steps. See, eliminating single implication, reducing the scope, standardizing, eliminating the existential quantification, dropping the universal quantification by pushing it to the extreme left, converting to conjunction of disjunctions, creating separate clauses, finally standardizing the variable. Okay, so these are the 9 steps. So you will be getting one similar such for the exam, which you will have to apply these 9 steps and take care. Are you all with me? Doubtful. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Attendance, you will definitely be with me. Correct, no, Shruti? Who said yes? Okay. Let me take attendance. Okay. Okay. So now answer your attendance. Shruti?
Present, ma'am.
People are feeling desperate. Madam is not stopping. Anyway, I'm stopping. Ryan?
Present, ma'am.
Aditya?
Present, ma'am.
Aditya was there for the previous class?
Ma'am, I was there at the time of the attendance. My Wi-Fi got.
Yeah. Okay, Aditya. Sudha Ramakrishnan? Sudha? Okay, noted. Sanjay Kumar?
Yes, ma'am.
Dipanshu Kumar?
Present, ma'am.
Vishal?
Present, ma'am.
Srinjay? 28. Okay. Muhammad Fasil? Make a note of this question and work it out and come tomorrow. Please make a note of this question. See, I have put it in the chat window. It becomes something else. Huh? Okay, let me put it in the. Please make a note of this. Okay, so convert this into conjunctive normal form. Then 37, Nitish Venkatesh?
Present, ma'am.
Dilip Kumar? 38. Dilip, not texting in the chat window. Shruti?
Yes, ma'am.
Nitin R?
Yes, ma'am.
Manikanta Reddy, 54.
Present, ma'am.
Ankit Kumar Singh? Okay, noted. Himanshu Kumar? 58. Okay, noted. Atul, 60.
Present, ma'am.
Niharika?
Present, ma'am.
Srinidhi?
Present, ma'am.
Sai Hemant? Sai Hemant. Okay, noted. Let me stop recording, otherwise. Okay. Sai